Yo, what is going on, everybody? It is D-Man coming back at it again with another YouTube video, and today we're going to be checking out what happened in today's practice and camp for the Tennessee Titans, the 11th practice of the camps. Let's go ahead. Let's talk about our first wardrobe check of the season, if you want to call it a season, year, whatever. But man, I've missed these. I think these are every Friday or Saturday morning, maybe even earlier in the week. But I remember getting these all the time last year. If you follow Jim Wyatt on Twitter or on Instagram, I believe you'll get these. And man, it's just so glad we get these back. But the Titans will be decked out in white jerseys and navy blue breeches in the preseason opener against the Falcons. And man, just to see that, it just feels like football season once again. And again, we are just a few days away from being able to see our first snap of the year. And it's going to be on Friday, I believe, 7 Eastern time. I think it's 7 Eastern time. It'll be in Atlanta. So maybe some of you guys may drive over there. Maybe some of you guys live in Georgia, and this is your one chance to go to a Titans game. So I do expect to see some Titans fans there. And we'll see how many Atlanta fans show up. So, but yeah, I won't be at the game. I'm planning to go on I'm planning to go to a couple of games this year. I have to wait and see which ones, but yeah, it's just great to see our first wardrobe check of the year. But let's get into practice today. So we see a little bit of A.J. Brown work this morning. He's back on the field, so that's a good thing. Good work from AJ there. And again, we're going to go over some clips as well as some notes from today, observations, if you will. And here's some wide receivers. I think that's NWI. It is. And again, pretty much the same video as yesterday, going over some clips and then going over some highlights of the day, if you will. There's Des Fitzpatrick there, and that's going to be it for that video. Todd Downing raving about wide receiver Marcus Johnson at start of availability. Loves his consistency, and we continue to see this Marcus Johnson love throughout training camp. We saw it early on, and we have continued to see it. And I believe, I'm not sure if it's on the Twitter, but I think I do. Yeah, it's going to be on Twitter here in a minute, but I believe Breon Borders was asked who was the hardest wide receiver to cover, and the first name that came out of his mouth wasn't A.J. Brown. It was actually Marcus Johnson. So that tells you something there. So Marcus Johnson is having a fantastic camp, and we'll continue on here. Todd Downing said Darrington Evans has done a nice job with the wrinkles added in the offense. Noted he's a big workload in camp. So there you go, a little bit of love for Darrington Evans as we move on to Kevin Byard here. Talking about playing the Falcons on Friday. Again, link will be down below if you want to watch any of these, but we'll move on. Shane Bowen pointed out Chris Jackson, defensive back Chris Jackson, had been doing good work in the slot, so that's good news there. You love to have depth there. I don't think I'm going to do a video on the depth chart. So I'll go ahead and mention this. I believe Elijah Molden and Caleb Farley were actually listed at cornerbacks 6 and 7 or 7 and 8, however many there were, which kind of surprised me. But obviously, Vrabel talked on it yesterday. He kind of went and he said, obviously the rookies are going to have to earn their role. But I do expect Caleb Farley to be in that top 3 cornerback rotation by the beginning of the year, unless he's not healthy. But I believe Caleb Farley has a lot of talent, and I think he'd be in that top 3. I think we had Jack Rabbit at 1, Christian Fulton at 2. So I expect Caleb Farley to be right up there with them, alongside Elijah Molden, who I think will be a great nickel slot for us as well. So let's move on. We see AJ here, another drill for him. Nothing too special. We just love to see AJ on the field getting into work. But again, no Julio today, which I've been saying for the past few days. I don't mind Julio not being out there. Don't want to risk an injury or anything like that. I want to keep him as healthy as possible for the year. So I don't mind him not out there. But there's AJ getting a little work in as well. I did see a clip where Rashaan Evans, I don't know if it's in here, so I'll wait, and then if it's not in here, I'll mention it. But I think it might be in here. As we see a couple of, there's David Long against, I believe that was Darrington Evans. Here is Jayon Brown against, couldn't tell. But again, just nice to see. There's Amani Hooker against, couldn't tell who that was. I think this might be it. Nice move by Racey McMath there against Rashaan Evans. I saw that one on Instagram, but I kind of wanted to save that until we saw it. But that was a nice little move he put on Rashaan Evans. But yeah, that's going to do it there. Let's move on. Keep watching some clips here. All right. Nick Westbrook-Akine here. And let's see. Checking out A.J. Brown. A little double move toward the inside. Again, excited. I'm just really, really, man, I hate watching this stuff, and it's not football season yet. I mean, I just want Friday to come as soon as possible because I cannot wait to watch that game. Let's move on here. A.J. Brown with some toe drag swag there. He's just so smooth. Anything he does is just so smooth. I mean, just gracious. I mean, it doesn't even look like he gets both feet down, but if you slow it down, it's 1,000% got both feet down. It's just so smooth with it, and you just love to see it. Pairing him up with Julio is unbelievable, and I'm super excited about it. There's King Henry's crown there. And again, we get into a couple of media stuff here at the end. Again, if you want to watch any of this, link will be down below. And this is, I don't think this is the clip. He might talk about it here. But this is Breon Borders here talking about, I don't know here, but I know he eventually talked about who is the hardest receiver to cover, and he mentioned Marcus Johnson. And here's Danico Autry. I'm very excited to see him play as well. I've seen what he can do on the Colts for the past few years, so I'm honestly very excited to see him in the two-tone blue. And we get to Kevin Byard. Insight on rookie Caleb Farley. That's some good stuff to watch there. We waved tight end Ernsberger, who I think got injured yesterday. And I think that is it. And then we'll get into some observations from today. So some highlights. So let's go ahead. Titans receiver A.J. Brown returned to practice on Tuesday. We covered that. Stood out in more ways than one. Not only did Brown make a number of catches, including some deep balls, he was also decked out in red shoes and a red compression sleeve. We saw that in those clips. I ended up shooting, this is obviously Jim White here. I ended up shooting several videos of A.J. Brown just for the occasion. And we just saw this toe drag swag here. We saw fast feet earlier. Marcus Johnson continues to make plays in practice, and everyone is noticing. I heard, way to go, Marcus, at least 3 times in Tuesday's session after number 88 made catches. Johnson made a nice snag early on a ball across the middle thrown by quarterback Ryan Tannehill. Again, he just continues to make plays, continues to impress. You know, tough catch across the middle with cornerback Christian Fulton draped all over him. That's what you want to hear. Super excited for this guy, man. We really didn't know what to expect from him. But, man, it's looking like he has been doing a lot of good things. The Titans worked a bunch of 2 team call it period with 2 groups in each period, 25 plays. Yeah, this was kind of funny. Write this down. This was pretty good. Lawan yelled over to Jim White. He said, "Hey, Jim, Titans offense apparently looked really good today. Defense, however, closed the session strong and ended up with 3 interceptions on the day. That's solid stuff. And I did see something that there's King Henry's Crown again, that Brady Breeze got another, and here it is. Brady Breeze got the first interception of the day, picked off Matt Barkley, intended for Mason Kinsey. Barkley's first interception so far, so that's pretty solid. He's been, few days at camp, and this is his first interception. Again, interceptions are going to come, but hopefully this is first of few for Matt Barkley. But again, picks are going to happen, and you want to see these young guys in the secondary make plays, and Brady Breeze did so. It's good to see Brady Breeze back out there too after what had happened early on when he had that high hit. I can't remember who it was, but I remember Vrabel did dismiss him early, but good to see him back making plays. Kevin Byard intercepted Tannehill in the back of the end zone on a pass intended for A.J. Brown. Byard has been getting his hands on a lot of footballs lately, but it was his first interception in camp. So again, I expect Kevin Byard to have a bounce-back year. He should be back at, I'm going to say, at least 5 to 6 picks this year, just because we're going to have a pass rush. And I've been saying that for a while now. Matthias Farley intercepted quarterback Logan Woodside on a late, he picked him off late on a ball tipped by cornerback Brian Body Calhoun. Body Calhoun made a pair of nice plays on Tuesday. And again, I think Body Calhoun is on the, he was on the depth chart, and I believe, I think he was just in front of Caleb Farley and Elijah Molden, if I'm correct. So that kind of is kind of crazy to me that, but again, Vrabel is kind of putting the pressure on these young guys to, prove their spot on the roster, and I kind of like that. Kind of pushing themselves, make them even better. So I like that, honestly, and not just give them the role right off the bat and, have them kind of, all right, I've got the starting spot, so I'm going to chill out. I liked how he has handled this, kind of pushing these younger guys. And I like that moving forward. Ferkser made a one. Speaking of Ferkser, he's actually listed as the tight end number 2 on the depth chart. And again, the reason I'm talking about this now is I don't think I'm gonna do a video. I kind of stayed quiet yesterday. I should have talked about it yesterday, but we actually have Jeff Swain listed as tight end number 1. And I really don't think this roster, this depth chart means anything, guys. So I think Ferkser is gonna play most of the snaps this year. When we get into the regular season. But again, this is kind of something that I think Vrabel's kind of messing with us and getting us all fired up. We got Jeff Swain at tight end 1. We got Caleb Farley, Elijah Molden at cornerback 6 and 7 or 7 and 8, wherever they land. But that's kind of crazy. But I think it's just, I don't think it's anything too bad or too serious just yet. But Ferkser made one of the best offensive plays of the day when he made a running catch with safety Amani Hooker on his hip. Ferkser later had a catch in another period. That's what you want to see out of a guy that's, changing his role this year, becoming that tight end number 1. But he's not tight end number 1 just yet, according to the depth chart, which I don't think that means anything. NWI has put together 2 nice days in a row. On Tuesday, NWI made a great diving catch on cornerback Jack Rabbit in coverage. That's what you want to hear out of a guy like Nick Westbrook Akine. Chester Rogers, Mason Kinsey, Racey McMath all had catches in a second team period. Rogers continues to be good on a consistent basis himself. I kind of think of Chester Rogers and Marcus Johnson. They have both had great camps. So I do expect them to make the roster, make the cut. So we'll see where those other receivers land. We already saw this. The guy we signed this offseason, we haven't heard much of him, but I think he's going to be a great special teams player. I don't want to try and pronounce his name. I'm going to get it wrong because he showed up on run defense and then again providing pressure on a rush. Again, he's going to be a great rotating piece. I don't think he's going to get many snaps this year just because of all the rotational pieces we already have, but I think he's going to play great on special teams, kind of like Darren Bates type kind of player like him for us. So I don't, that's going to be, he's going to play a solid role for us. So let's move on. Despite throwing a pick Tuesday, Barkley has already proven to be an upgrade over Deshaun Kaiser in practices. He's been decisive in the pocket, and he's thrown the ball well downfield. Yeah, and I thought that was an upgrade right off the bat. And I know a lot of you guys weren't fans of the releasing of Deshaun Kaiser. I wouldn't have minded releasing Logan Woodside, keeping Deshaun Kaiser, kind of keeping that elusiveness with Deshaun Kaiser. But Logan Woodside has a little bit of that too, just not as explosive as Deshaun Kaiser, but he's definitely elusive. Logan Woodside is. So in my opinion, I wouldn't have minded. I like Deshaun Kaiser a little bit more than Woodside, but I'm fine. I would have been fine with either one of them, getting released, and then so obviously I wouldn't have, the upgrade with Matt Barkley I think was a great addition. Darrington Evans had a busy, but anyway, talking about the quarterbacks, we're screwed either way. If Ryan Tannehill goes down, it doesn't matter who our backup is. If it was Woodside, Kaiser, Matt Barkley, it's definitely a massive downgrade, and the offense is going to take a, hit with the loss of Tannehill if he ever does go down. So still we're going to, we're screwed either way. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is, but we're just screwed less with, Barkley, because he's a little bit better than Deshaun Kaiser and Logan Woodside, in my opinion. Running back Darrington Evans had a busy day running the football. McNichols and Mekhi Sargent have been too busy. That's the guy I keep forgetting about, Mekhi Sargent. I have a feeling that some folks will be talking about Sargent in preseason games. So yeah, that's the guy that I think that was number something, and I kept forgetting who it was. One of you guys let me know down below in another video. I appreciate that. Cam Batson, Chester Rogers, Darrington Evans worked as returners in special teams, period. Des Fitzpatrick take off, but he's inconsistent in practices, Vrabel pointed out. And yeah, I've seen a lot of that from Fitzpatrick as well. The media is trying to push him, but I think that he has still got a lot. He got a lot to go. He's still got a lot to improve. He's got to be more consistent, stuff like that. Which, I mean, he's a rookie. It's going to happen. But in my opinion, he's not there just yet. He's definitely going to be a great receiver in the NFL, in my opinion. But he's just not quite there yet. And I think throughout this year, he'll get a feel for how the NFL is. The next offseason, I think he's going to be, next offseason is going to be a time where he can prove himself in training camp and into the preseason next year. But I just don't think he's there just yet. Receiver Julio Jones, Ben Jones, Nate Davis, Harold Landry, Kendall Lamb, Jeff Swain, Batson, Danico Autry, Dane Cruikshank. Donnie Ernsberger did not practice, and we saw later that Ernsberger was actually released or waived. Officials worked practice for the second day in a row, so we actually had officials there, so that's good. Next practice, Wednesday at 5 p.m. So that'll actually give me time to do a video right when they finish up, so that's actually good for me. But yeah, with that being said, I think that is everything, and it is. So with that being said, covered a lot today. We'll be back at it tomorrow a little bit later, actually around the same time, but practice is actually going to end a little later than it did today. But yeah, with that being said, that is going to do it for the video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy. Until next time, I'll see y'all.